Hey guys, today we have Mudassir Hussain and he is having total 4 year of experience in Java, Spring Boot and microservices domain. And those who want to give same free mock interview, please fill out the form below in the description. So now let's get started. Hey, hello Mudassir, how are you?
Yeah, hi Fajan, I'm good and how are you?
Yes, I'm also good. Shall we start?
Yeah, we can start.
Okay. So can you please introduce yourself and your recent project in brief?
Okay, so I'm Rasul Hussain. I'm currently working in Accenture as a Java backend developer, where I got the opportunity to work on like a
Mm-hmm.
Java, Spring Boot, microservices, like different domains. And currently, I'm working in GenAI domain where like we are making some applications along with the help of GenAI. Like it will make the developers' task very easy,
Mm-hmm.
like writing code and all.
And what's your day-to-day responsibilities there?
My day-to-day responsibilities include building some features, checking like existing features if they have any bugs, so fixing that.
So can you tell me the purpose of REST controller and request mapping annotation in Spring Boot?
Yeah, REST controller is like simply the controller along with the control. It is controller along with the request mapping annotate
Mm-hmm.
response body annotation. So REST controller, like whatever the request we are processing, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
response we are making, it will automatically make it in the form of JSON or XML. And
Mm-hmm.
request mapping is
Mm-hmm.
for method, like to map to a specific method like get method, post method.
Okay, and let's say if I want to customize a default server port in a Spring Boot application, how can I do that?
In the application.properties file, we have
Mm-hmm.
server.port, and we can change the port number. By default, it will be 8080. So
Okay,
we
okay,
can change that.
okay. And can you explain about Spring Boot's auto configuration mechanism?
Yeah, Spring Boot configuration is we have a Spring Boot application on the main class. It
Mm-hmm.
comprises of enable auto configuration, component
Mm-hmm.
scan, and at the rate configuration annotations. Basically, it will like first get all the dependencies from the Maven and add it to the class path, and it
Mm-hmm.
will set up the development environment for us, and whatever the
Mm-hmm.
application or properties we have,
Mm-hmm.
establishing the connection and all, everything will be done by Spring Boot.
And do you know about a Spring Boot internationalization in microservices?
International relations.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've not
Okay,
heard.
so Spring Boot also supports internationalization through local resolution and message bundles. Basically, it allows services to serve content in multiple languages based on the client preferences. Okay, yeah. Uh, so guys, do you know that Mudassir recently purchased interview preparation kit, and after learning that kit, he is able to crack multiple technical interviews and got multiple offers. So basically, this kit contains four parts. First is complete interview preparation material. Second is two enterprise client projects with recorded sessions. Third is one-on-one lifetime doubt sessions, and fourth is referral support. So basically, interview preparation material is structured step by step by myself, expert and MNC's interviewers. And the best part is that now no one need to go anywhere else to prepare interviews. There is a 99% chance that interviewers will ask questions from this material. It contains a lot of material categorized by experience levels. Means each experience level has different material with all possible interview question and answer for Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data JPA, Kafka, Microservices, Java coding questions, Stream API coding questions, and many more. So if anyone is interested, I will provide the link of both of these courses below in the description. So Mudassir, can you please give a small feedback, like whether that was helpful for you, that kit is helpful for you?
Yeah, actually, it is very helpful. It has structured questions based
Mm-hmm.
on level experience 0 to 3, 3 to 5 experience, like,
Okay.
and also like detailed explanation for all the
Mm-hmm.
questions, like for
Mm-hmm.
each and every question, like scenario based, what interviewer could ask.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is covered in that. So it is very
Okay.
helpful.
No one need to go
Yeah,
anywhere else to prepare interviews. Nice, nice.
so that.
Okay, thank you, Mudassir. Now moving to our mock interview. So let's say you need to create a REST API in Spring Boot that retrieves user data from a database. How would you structure the application layers and which annotations you would use?
Okay, so first, the structuring the layer means like it will have controller layer and
Mm-hmm.
data access layer and service layer, data access layer.
Mm-hmm.
So request for first connection establishment through adding the properties in application or properties
Mm-hmm.
like
Okay.
database connection, and then
Mm-hmm.
controller level we will define the APIs like the request
Mm-hmm.
will come to the controller layer, and then that request processing that DTO object will go to the service where from DTO it will map to the entity, and then
Mm-hmm.
entity it will whatever the suppose it is saving to the database means it will
Mm-hmm.
persist the object and save to
Mm-hmm.
the database using data access layer,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will return the saved entity if it is successful.
Okay, okay. Got it. Moving ahead. Let's say you have to configure Spring Boot application to support different environments like development, testing, and production. So how would you manage the application properties for each environment?
We create separate properties file using profiles concept
Mm-hmm.
of profiles like
Okay.
application hyphen dev dot properties hyphen prod
Mm-hmm.
dot properties. We can have different configuration.
Mm. Okay, okay. Got it. Can you explain the dependency injection and its types in Spring Framework?
Dependency injection, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
basically Spring Boot like we have like it will provide us the ability to like
Mm-hmm.
only focus on code, so it will automatically handle the dependency injection
Mm-hmm.
and the different scope of for beans we have different scopes like it is prototype singleton and
Mm-hmm.
request
Mm-hmm.
and sessions for global sessions. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. Mm, uh, how would you implement custom scope in Spring Beans?
custom scope
Mm-hmm.
we can define we
You
can create a
can override the relevant methods to control bean creation and destruction.
yeah.
Can then register it as a custom bean scope, right? What's the difference between bean factory bean factory and application context?
Bean Factory, it is it provides just the basic
Mm-hmm.
functionality for creating
Mm-hmm.
and handling beans, whereas application context
Mm-hmm.
it covers all the functionality of Bean Factory and
Mm-hmm.
also gives us the functionality like connecting with different tools
Mm-hmm.
AOP and
Mm. Okay,
giving
okay.
us facilities.
Got it. Can you tell me a scenario where you would use bean factory over application context?
If the application is very simple, like only requires handling
Mm-hmm.
the beans, then we can use like Bean
Bean
Factory.
factory. Yes. For lightweight application, we could use bean factory, and for heavy application, we could use application context. Correct. Can you
Correct.
explain the concept of repositories in Spring Data JPA?
Yeah, repositories is an annotation. It
Mm-hmm.
will be defined on the repository like data access layer. Just
Mm-hmm.
message to the compiler that this contains the data access related
Mm-hmm.
operations.
Okay.
And like it is component. We can also use component also in case of repository, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a good practice to use repository on the data access layer.
Okay, okay. Uh, how do you perform pagination and sorting in Spring Data?
We have pagination and sorting repository
Mm-hmm.
where it will provide us with functionalities like only pagination. We can only give certain number of records to
Mm-hmm.
the whatever the request it comes from database. It will we can have a pagination like 1 to 10, then next records on the second page, and we
Mm-hmm.
can sort also on basis of certain fields.
Mm. Okay. Mm. Can you discuss the use of custom repository methods?
Custom repository,
Mm-hmm.
thread repository, or custom repository.
So how would you write a custom query?
Custom query, okay.
Mm-hmm.
We defined a method in the interface and we can write at the rate query using at the rate query like in the
Mm-hmm.
form of JPQL. Like if we want to directly write it using SQL, we can enable native query at Screw and we
Mm-hmm.
can write our own query and we can
Mm-hmm.
use that method so it will run the HPQL Hibernate query.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. How does Spring Data JPA handle complex transactions and rollback scenarios?
Complex transactions, we can use
Mm-hmm.
header transactional annotation. Like
Mm-hmm.
suppose if the transaction like it needs to be completed like following the principle of atomicity.
Mm-hmm.
So as it provides, like if the transaction could not be completed, then it should roll back the whole transaction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's say you need to improve the performance of a Spring Data JPA application that is currently experiencing slow query times. What strategies would you consider?
For slow queries, first of all, we can like enable caching and
Mm-hmm.
we can use caching annotations like cache put and
Mm-hmm.
like for deleting the queries cache a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and we can store the data for which are frequently accessed. And apart from that, we can like optimize the queries and for retrieving the data, so like we can use stream operations
Mm-hmm.
and uh,
We could also use eager or lazy fetching wisely.
yeah, yeah,
As you said, we could use caching and we could also optimize query methods, right? We could optimize our queries. We could use better schema or indexes for better performance. Yeah. So, how do you clone a repository from GitHub?
from GitHub, like we can copy the clone URL and directly using the git bash git clone like and add the repository URL.
Okay. So, what is git pull command?
It fetches the latest uh, latest commit to our local repository.
What's the difference between git rebase and git merge?
Git rebase, like it will continue, like suppose if we are in feature branch and we want to have
Mm-hmm.
it merged to different branch, so
Mm-hmm.
continuation of commits will be there and without any commit message. Whereas git merge, like we can merge two branches with a
Mm-hmm.
comment mentioned and it will add it in the history.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, how do you resolve a complex merge conflict in Git?
So for complex merge conflict, like uh, because I used first a git merge and like whatever the merge
Mm-hmm.
conflict is there, like going through like side by side comparison, what is like first we need to have understand like what is there, like which
Mm-hmm.
conflict is there in which file, and then we can check like which is the latest and what needs to be added. Then we can resolve the conflicts in our editor and we can close it and we can add a git message and push it.
Okay. So, do you know about any tool that helps in resolving Git commits? Oh, yeah, Git commits. Git conflicts, sorry.
Uh,
Do you know about Tortoise Git?
I heard
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
but I have not
Yeah,
used.
actually, it is a tool, third-party tool that
Yeah.
helps resolving conflicts. We could use also that. Okay, so let's say you are working on a feature branch. Let's say you created a feature branch from your main branch, right? Now you are working on your feature branch. You have made several commits there, like 10 to 15 commits here in your feature branch, right? Now you want to merge your feature branch into your main branch, but you don't want to merge all the commits whatever you have made like 10 to 15. You just want to merge only 2 3 commits there into the main branch. So how would you do that?
Uh, like we can specify the git commit like commit numbers, like whatever the change log that commit ID is there, no? So we can take that specific commit numbers and we can merge it, like
Do
push
you
it to
know
the main
about
branch.
git cherry pick?
Git cherry pick. No, actually, I heard of it
Yeah,
but
yeah,
long
it's
time
fine.
ago.
Okay, so this is a command git cherry pick. We could use that command, and we cherry pick means we are picking one commit and we are just merging that one into the
Yeah.
main branch. So we are picking cherry pick. You could use that. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Moving to the next question. After making several commits, you realize that you made a mistake in one of the earlier commits. Explain how would you correct this mistake using it?
Using Git to roll back to previous commit and like fix the changes, and like we can add our latest changes and commit like it is uh,
Mm-hmm.
like default way like how we can
Okay. So what's the purpose of POM XML file in Maven?
on the XML file. It is
Mm-hmm.
uh, build automation to like we can add our dependencies if we fetch it directly from the Maven repository, and we don't need to add the jars explicitly.
What's the difference between starter dependencies and normal dependencies?
Starter dependencies like it comprises of different kind of dependencies that will be required for
Mm-hmm.
certain operation. Like for web, it consists of like web related dependencies for controller, REST controller, and all.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has embedded some server like Tomcat. So we don't need to add that explicitly each and every, as everything under one starter dependency.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you explain the Maven build life cycle?
And build life cycle
Mm-hmm. It
uh,
includes compile, test, package, install,
yeah.
and deploy.
Yeah, first, like what are the dependencies is there, it will compile, and if any error
Mm-hmm.
is there, it will throw. Otherwise, it will directly go to test and install the latest dependencies.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So moving ahead, how would you optimize Maven build speeds for large projects?
Uh, and it's checking like if there are any irrelevant dependencies, so we can remove that and uh,
Okay. Also, we could increase the speeds by configuring incremental builds. We could utilize parallel builds. There is a feature. These are the features of Maven.
uh,
Okay. What are the key benefits of microservice architecture over monolithic?
microservice architecture, it provides us with functionalities like we can have like single service
Mm-hmm.
completely responsible for its own operations, so like not dependent on others,
Mm-hmm.
and we can scale it and scale down based on our requirements, and loose coupling will be there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
managing service will be easy based on the monolithic architecture, but everything will be at one place.
Mm. Okay. Mm. How do you handle configuration management in microservices?
Configuration management,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like different configurations. So like configuration properties, we can add it in application of properties file.
Have you used
Uh,
Spring Cloud config?
yeah, Spring Cloud config I was to we can have it under one standardized the properties using config server. We can
Mm-hmm.
add enable config server annotation there. We can keep the properties like for all the profiles, like we can keep the properties there, and we can fetch the properties like
Mm-hmm.
without it without the application needs to restart, we can like change the properties also.
Okay. What strategies would you use to implement database transactions across multiple microservices?
Sorry, can you repeat it? What strategies
Would you use to implement database transactions across multiple microservices?
across multiple microservices, so like uh, whenever like we are making a request, so we should if following the database means, so we can create one method and we can add enter a transaction annotation to have
Mm-hmm.
like data consistency. Suppose if like we can wait for one transaction to complete and return the response, and then we can
Mm-hmm.
proceed for next operation for that particular service. In that way,
Mm-hmm.
it can be like a database consistency we can have.
Okay. Yes, and also we could use distributed transactions patterns like Saga, where each
Yeah.
service involved handles its parts of the transaction and coordinates with other via messaging or event-driven mechanism. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain the concept of service discovery?
Service discovery, like
Mm-hmm.
we can have all the services registered under
Mm-hmm.
one like service discovery, like
Mm-hmm.
Eureka or console we can use. So
Mm-hmm.
like suppose if one service want to interact with another service, it will directly check for the service discovery and it will
Mm-hmm.
connect through that service discovery service name and connect with another service.
Okay. Uh, let's say you are designing a microservice architecture and need to ensure that service failures do not affect the entire system. What strategies would you implement?
We can implement like circuit breaker
Circuit
and
breaker,
yeah,
fallback mechanism,
callback method. We can have
retries.
retries. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so moving ahead. Can you explain the differences and use of class loader subclasses in Java?
Router.
Do you know about class loaders like Bootstrap class loader, system class loader, extension class loader?
Yeah, class loader, it will load the dot plus files into the
Mm-hmm.
JVM and will be ready for that byte code. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
will execute
Okay.
that to the
Yeah, yeah.
JVM.
Bootstrap class loader loads core Java APIs classes. Extension class loader manages extension classes, and system class loader loads classes set in the system's class path. Custom class loaders can be implemented also for specific loading strategies. Okay. What's the difference between method overloading and overriding?
Method overloading, we can have it in the same class, like where we can have multiple methods with same name, but we can have different set of parameters. Whereas method overriding, we cannot have it in the same class. Instead, we can have subclass where the subclass will override the parent class methods, but the method name and parameter will be same. The implementation will be different.
Okay. How does Java handle exceptions and exceptions handling and provide an example of a custom exception?
Java handles exception through exception class, like they will be checked and unchecked exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like which are compile time and runtime, and we can use try catch mechanism for exception and exception handling. So
Mm-hmm.
for checked exceptions, we can either declare it at the method level or class level using the throws keyword. And unchecked
Mm-hmm.
exceptions, so like it can be occurring like during runtime. We cannot, like, while writing the code, we can check for certain exceptions which could occur, and we can catch that exceptions in the catch flow. And regarding custom exceptions, like we can
Mm-hmm.
create a separate custom exception class where we
Mm-hmm.
will extend it with the runtime exception, and we'll have the constructor like to implement what some like, whatever message we can provide for that custom exception. No, we can write it in the constructor.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. Suppose you have a multi-threaded application where multiple threads are updating the same field of an object. How would you ensure that these updates are thread safe?
By using synchronized blocks and by using like synchronized like collections,
Mm-hmm.
especially concurrent hash map, copy on write array list, and using parallel streams,
Mm-hmm.
like we
Okay.
can make it thread safe.
Okay. So let's say you are tasked with reducing memory usage in Java application. What strategies would you use to identify and fix memory leaks?
Number links, uh, we can use like say profile, Java profile or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which
Correct,
will
correct.
identify memory leaks, and we can implement it, first we will check the static, if there are any static methods
Mm-hmm.
or static collections are there,
Mm-hmm.
then we need to check if there are occupying more memory, and
Mm-hmm.
also like if there are any open streams or open connections, so we should close that using like finally
Mm-hmm.
block, we should implement code in such a way, and uh, that's
Okay. Uh, can you explain the concept of stream API in Java?
Stream API. It helps us with certain features,
Mm-hmm.
it like makes it easy for us to work with collections using declarative way to handle certain operations on
Mm-hmm.
larger collections.
Okay. Mm, okay. What is predicate? What is a predicate and how it can be used in filtering data?
Predicate is it is a functional interface.
Mm-hmm.
It has a method like test. It will return boolean after like testing. Like it will return
Mm-hmm.
boolean. And for filtering, like stream dot to filter, no, it accepts predicate as an input, and whatever like condition we want to provide, we can provide it using lambda.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose like
Mm-hmm.
filtering something like x arrow x modulo to like that for even functions,
Mm-hmm.
and it will filter and return a stream, and we can collect that using collection
Mm-hmm.
list of stream or something.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between collectors dot grouping by and collectors dot partitioning by?
Collectors dot grouping by, it is used to group all the whatever that we have in the collection.
Mm-hmm.
It will group certain things based on like certain condition. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
partitioning, it will divide it and separate it in two different into like different streams, or even two different partition it will make based on
Mm-hmm.
certain condition.
Yes, correct. Okay. Can you tell me the changes that happens in the Java concurrency model in Java 8?
In Java 8,
Yes.
concurrency model.
Okay, so Java 8 basically introduced improvements in the concurrency model. It includes new APIs and enhancement to like a fork join pool that optimize the parallel operation in streams and making it easier to write efficient multi-threaded code. Okay. Okay, so Mudassir, are you comfortable in writing the code in Java Stream API?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so can you please share your screen and open any editor? Then I'll share one or two questions. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Hmm. Okay. So Mudassir, you are given a list that contains
Okay.
numbers, and you have to print the sum of those numbers by using Stream API.
Okay.
Hmm. Remove comma in the end.
So some of all the numbers, right?
Yes,
So
yes. Like the output should be. 10.
One plus. Yeah.
Try to use, let me give
Yeah.
you a hint. Try to use reduce,
Okay.
stream dot reduce.
Yes.
Give the initial value, like put 0 here because uh, initial value is 0, then comma. Inside brackets, put two variables x1, x2, or anyone. A comma b, then arrow, and a plus
Um,
b.
yeah.
So this will return a number, sum of some, put no semicolon. Yes. So you can store this value and print it. You got it?
Uh, yeah. I have to input also, right?
Okay. Now, if you want to sum of even numbers only, then how would you do that?
Not given numbers. Like here we can modify it. Uh,
We can also use filter before reduce.
yes.
Okay.
Plus.
Yes. Now, let's say if we want to sum of all numbers except the first number that comes first. You have to
Yes. If
you have
pattern
to
we can do.
sum of all numbers except the number that comes first indices number. Means you have to sum of number except one in this
Yeah.
case.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, that's correct. So Mudassir, yeah, it's done from my end, and it was a nice interview.